Welcome back. You're watching Sunrise live on E! Now, the National Empowerment Fund was established to assist South Africans to make sure that they participate in the economic landscape. Now, during Women's Month, we conducted many interviews, and it became apparent that more needs to be done to empower women. So we've invited the National Empowerment Fund, and we have their CEO to talk about their programs of empowering women of different backgrounds, economic standing, and of various ages. We have Philisiwe Buthelezi. The lines are open to you on 011-537-9333. That's 011-537-9333. Philisiwe, always good to have you.
Thank you very much, Cindy, for the opportunity.
And congratulations for being nominated and winning the Business Woman of the Year. It's a huge accolade, a great recognition from your peers in the business sector.
Thank you. I think it's a very exciting opportunity for me. But Cindy, going forward, I do realize also that it comes with a lot of, responsibility. Not just for me as the woman who actually received the award, but it applies to women, as well.
But it's also very competitive. It just goes to show that the industry champions and that the economic landscape is changing somewhat, but not at the rate that we would like.
I would actually say, Cindy's actually still a long way to go, because remember that we are trying to deal with imbalances of the past, exclusions that were actually instituted for more than 100 years. So we cannot just hope that within a very short space of time that we're going to be able to actually, deal with all the barriers and all the bottlenecks that really prevent women from participating meaningfully in the economy of South Africa. Yeah. So I would say it's still a long way to go. If I were to use the GSE as a proxy in terms of the net wealth or net interest that actually resides in women's hands in South Africa is very small. I would say it's at about 1 point something, percent. Yeah. So it says it's actually a long way to go for all of us.
Yeah, and if you look at the other side of the spectrum, where there's lack of education and poverty, lack of access to opportunities, it makes it even more desperate in empowering women there. Because when you're speaking to the converted yourself with a master's in economics, with an MBA, and all sorts of other experience around business and international investments, it's somewhat easier. The doors are open for you. But if we're speaking to women that don't have those qualifications, that don't have the experience, it's difficult to help.
In fact, that's what the National Empowerment Fund has undertaken to do going forward. We realize that when you talk about broad-based Black economic empowerment, it only really relates to people who live in urban areas. They will understand it much better. So what we're doing as the National Empowerment Fund, we've decided to actually conceptualize some of these projects that will actually develop women, from different backgrounds, especially women who are still based in the rural areas. So we package them, because remember, before you can actually even come up with a product offering or a value proposition, you need to understand the types of market failures that women in general are faced with. So we have actually done the research, conducted the research as the National Empowerment Fund, and we actually found that yes, it's about the lack of access to finance, but it's also about the lack of access to markets. Because once you have produced your products, you must have an access in terms of the markets that you can actually channel your products into. So when the NEF gets involved, it's from inception and all the way up to the final distribution of the products that we'll be talking about, especially for rural women and women from the townships.
And what are your targets, especially in allowing women the opportunity in those big deals or big businesses, especially in construction or aviation, agriculture, etc.? Do you have any set targets in trying to get women into those sectors?
The target, Cindy, can go up as, we can even say our target is 100%. But the most daunting task for us, for all of us, would be how do we then allow women to access those opportunities? So it has to be a mindset, change, even from corporate South Africa, because you need to persuade corporate South Africa to also now begin to give those opportunities. It's not going to happen in a vacuum.
Yes.
There has to be a concerted effort, both from the funders and the financiers of those transactions, plus also you want corporate South Africa to give women those opportunities. In fact, Group 5 is doing a lot of good work in that area. I'm sure you'll remember that I'm also chairperson of Group 5.
I was going to say you're very
Yes.
influential there, so they would.
So from an enterprise development perspective, we have actually empowered a whole lot of black women, especially black women who are involved in construction of roads and a wide range of other areas.
We have a caller on the line. Tavane, thanks so much for holding. You're calling us from KwaZulu-Natal, and what's your comment or question?
Yes, good.
Please turn down your TV set as giving us feedback. Tabani, you're still there?
Yes, good morning, Cindy, and
Yeah,
good morning to Kelly.
Morning.
Yes, good morning.
Are you listening?
I'm the chairperson of the youth and women at Umkenya with the one traveling. I was just wondering, what is the NEF to access the information of how can people have access to all the benefits of the NEF? In special areas like Umkanya, where we don't have even laptops, where we don't have even network as per se. We've been trying, we're forming cooperatives on daily basis. We are not like preparing for the expo at the end of this month, and we've been trying to access one. But my question is, what is the NEF doing to ensure that even there's access in rural areas?
All right, thanks so much, Tavana. And I think that's the casualty in that access to information and infrastructure as well.
But Cindy, you must remember that all of these agencies that are owned by the South African government were established with a specific mandate in mind. Our mandate is to provide funding and financial support to black empowered enterprises in South Africa. So once you start talking about infrastructure, it's something that falls outside of our domain. But what I would advise them to do, because we've just opened a new office in Durban, it's a satellite office that we have just established, that some of the people who are based in KZN should now try and access those services that are available in KZN. But I think it's much quicker to access our information through the internet, and our website is very simple: www.nefcorp.co.za. And if you go into our website, there's a whole lot of information that people are going to be able to access, even the business plan toolkit, which we actually offer to the public for free of charge. Because once you start asking for the business plan, I don't know, we want to demystify this whole concept, because people just get a bit scared once you start talking about the business plan.
Yes.
So even the business plan is going to be available on our website.
All right. But we are running late for news. We'll continue our discussion just after the 6:30 news headlines. And thanks so much for staying with us. We're speaking to the CEO of the National Empowerment Fund, Philisiwe Buthelezi. She'll still be with us just after the 6:30 news headlines. So keep those calls coming. We'll take a quick ad break. We'll see you shortly. Sunrise.
Hear me, it's Mark. Are you always feeling tired and weak? The problem could be your immune system. Stress, blood pressure problems, tension, ushukela, and viral diseases all attack your immune system.